Delhi NCR is back in the grip of toxic air, a suffocating winter ritual that returns every year, turning clean air into a luxury for millions. Every year, as temperature dips, Delhi's AQI slips into the very poor and severe categories, raising some serious questions about preparedness, prevention, and policy intent. Data from the Central Pollution Control Board shows that Delhi's air quality has remained consistently alarming for nearly a decade. Between 2015 and 2024, Delhi's average AQI never dropped below the very poor category. In fact, 4 of these 10 years slipped into the severe zone, with 2018 recording an average AQI of 360, one of the worst on record. Even in years with temporary relief, like in 2020 and 2021, the average AQI stayed firmly in the very poor range, underlining that this is not a one-time spike but a structural problem. And the trend continues to go on in 2025 as well. On January 1st of 2025, Delhi recorded an AQI of 328, once again in the very poor category. And neighboring NCR cities also fared only slightly better, but still remain in the poor zone, while Faridabad was the only major city to record moderate air quality. But why does this happen year after year is the big question. Experts point to a toxic combination of man-made pollution and natural factors behind it. Vehicular emissions remain the single largest contributor, and when these emissions mix with dense winter fog, the air turns thick and dangerous to breathe. Adding to this problem are low wind speeds, which prevent pollutants from dispersing further. Meteorological conditions worsen the situation. The arrival of western disturbances leads to a sharp drop in temperatures, triggering cold wave conditions. Cold air settles close to the ground, creating an air pocket that traps pollutants near the surface. Delhi's geography also works against it. Located in a low-lying basin-like plain and surrounded by hills that restrict airflow, the city becomes a natural pollution trap every winter. The consequences are going to be very, very severe. Hazardous AQI levels lead to breathing disorders, eye irritation, aggravated asthma, reduced lung capacity, and long-term risks, including heart diseases and premature deaths. Children, the elderly, and those with existing health conditions are the worst affected. The data makes one thing very clear, that is, Delhi's air crisis is no longer seasonal or temporary. It is persistent and it is worsening with each passing day. We are looking at the conditions, the toxicity remaining on the clouds, making breathing extremely, extremely difficult for the residents of Delhi NCR. Let's take this forward with the experts joining us here on the broadcast. Vice Chairman and Head of Pulmonology of MAG-SACE, Dr. Vivek Nangia joining us here, and environmentalist Devan Singh as well. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us here. Dr. Nangia, let me first begin to you. Sir, what are some of the common respiratory conditions that you have observed specifically that are related to the toxicity that we are taking on a daily basis in Delhi NCR?
So I think most people that are suffering because of this toxicity are basically coming to us with symptoms like cough, cold, which begins like a minor upper respiratory tract kind of an infection kind of symptoms, but then it is transgressing into the lungs, getting involved as well, causing severe constriction in the lungs, chest congestion, wheezing, and what is more important is that it's not something which is getting treated within 3 to 5 days, which earlier it would. It's requiring prolonged, extended courses. And many of these patients are requiring nebulizers, many of these patients are requiring steroids, and that too prolonged courses. So asthma, COPD, interstitial lung diseases, there are all those conditions which are getting worsened because of the air pollution outside.
Right. Mr. Singh, now let me also have your opening remarks here, sir. Though the data is suggesting that the vehicular emission is the most prominent and the biggest contributor of the toxicity at the moment, but according to you, what are the other primary sources which are also contributing to Delhi's ongoing air pollution crisis?
See, vehicular pollution is around 43%, which the founder director, Mr. Gurfan Beg of SAFAR, which is a government body, he said few days back. Dust, construction activities, these contribute around 21%. And then there are other waste burning and kitchen and all these things which contribute the rest of it. So besides, the industries also contribute around 19%, which is a huge amount of contribution. So entire toxicity comes from Delhi's own sources, and we need to reduce this vehicular population, which is very high, which we say it is combining equivalent to combined population of other three metros, the Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata. We need to take strong action on that. And other thing that is comes under question is that Delhi's geography. Delhi geography is such that we are in a low line, as you have said some time back. But then we need to understand one thing, that we don't have that column of fresh air reservoir that a city near a coast has, near the sea has. Like if you go to Chennai, any amount of pollution it may generate, but it will never be as toxic as Delhi is, because Chennai has sea next to it, and the fresh air, the reservoir that entire sea has over it, entire column of fresh air, it easily circulates into Chennai, and its air is pollution is diluted. Now you won't see this spike in pollution in those cities next to coast, but in case of Delhi, we don't have such column of fresh air. Like we had a hinterland, good hinterland in Haryana and West UP agriculture fields, but then Delhi is spread out so much and into the NCR that that hinterland has gone very far away from the core of Delhi. Now, Gurgaon is part of Delhi, Noida, Ghaziabad, Sonipat, Kundli, all these town cities are part of Delhi. There's hardly any buffer left in between. So we are positioned like this. We are irresponsibly growing like anything and thinking this growth is inevitable, whereas this growth is not inevitable. The pollution is inevitable. We must understand this. And you know, the worst of thing, Delhi is not learning any lesson. It is going to going for urbanization on around 80,000 acres of agriculture land, which is still remaining in outer Delhi. And this buffer zone that we still have is going under concrete, under the land pooling scheme. 17 lakh flats will be constructed. 17 lakh flats means another 1 crore people will settle in Delhi, and another 10 lakh or so vehicles will be adding to Delhi. So what I want to say is the authorities are just not serious about the whole episode. And the worst thing is that our judiciary, which is the final authority in this country, when the political establishment and other pillars of democracy fail, it is judiciary who should take these institutions to task and should take a very strong stand. But this is not happening in the country right now. You know, there is recent judgment on Aravali that judiciary has passed this order, accepted the government definition that any Aravali hills below 100 meter cannot be termed as Aravali, and hence it loses a legal protection. It will be open to mining, and we'll lose entire Aravali's in this. Only 90% of Aravali will be lost in few decades from now, and will be generating entire pollution in Delhi NCR because of the mining and other activities. But Supreme Court has allowed that.